Coming up on Oakdale Update, we take a look at Oakdale's year in review. And Mayor Paul Reinke joins me in studio. Stay tuned, Oakdale Update is straight ahead. Hello and welcome to Oakdale Update. I'm your host, Frank Orsello. This is the City of Oakdale's news and information program about your community. 2020 has been a year filled with many challenges. Here's a look back on Oakdale's year in review.
Like other cities and communities across the globe, much of the past year in Oakdale has revolved around response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The city met its priority to maintain the health and safety of the community and city employees without interruption to service delivery by promoting online services and providing other contactless means of doing business, such as adding drop-off boxes for utility payments and building permits. The city received $2.1 million in CARES Act funding, which, among other COVID-related expenses, was largely used to purchase personal protective equipment, cleaning supplies, and to fund improvements in city facilities aimed at helping minimize risk of exposure. The city also used some of the funds to benefit the community, including a donation to the Christian Covered Emergency Food Shelf. Most of the city's large events were canceled this year due to restrictions on gathering size, including the city's annual Summerfest celebration, normally held in June. The city's recreation department adjusted many of their programs to accommodate smaller gathering sizes and added new virtual programs to allow for more remote participation. Several programs experienced success within the COVID climate, including this year's Farmers Market, which saw a record number of shoppers throughout the season. We were able to provide a safe place for consumers to shop and vendors to network, with added signage, additional spacing, and hand-washing sanitizing stations throughout. The annual community walk was also a huge success, with more than 300 registered participants. Many businesses in Oakdale were required to reduce capacity or close temporarily due to COVID-19 related restrictions. In response, the city developed several resources to assist businesses, including the COVID Recovery Business Loan Program, which provides low-interest loans up to $10,000 to qualifying businesses, and programs specifically aimed at supporting dining establishments, including temporary mobile food vendor licenses and temporary outdoor dining assistance. Many residents transitioning to work from home arrangements took advantage of the opportunity to tackle long-awaited home improvement projects, including new roofs, driveways, windows, decks, and other projects. Overall, the building department issued 2,532 building permits in 2020, with a total valuation of $85 million, which is more than double the total valuation in 2019. Public safety response has shifted in light of the pandemic. Over the last year, the Oakdale Fire Department has seen an increase in call volume, most notably in mental health calls. In an effort to bring joy and levity to the community early on in the pandemic, Oakdale Fire and Police Departments partnered to conduct drive-by birthday and special event parades. In May, the Oakdale Police, with support from the Oakdale Fire Department, Public Works, and Washington County, successfully managed civil unrest experienced in the community following the death of George Floyd. Following the period of unrest, Oakdale public safety officials facilitated a community conversation with members of the public to answer questions and to help strengthen and heal a hurting community. The forum was broadcast on Channel 16 and YouTube. 2020 was also a unique year in that it was both the year of the decennial census and an election year. Census Day was April 1st, 2020. By this date, every home had received an invitation to participate in the census. Minnesota led the country with the highest self-response rate of 75.1%. Oakdale had a self-response rate of 84.8%, the sixth highest response rate in Washington County. Oakdale City Hall served as an absentee and early voting location for the 2020 election. Between September 18th and November 2nd, 5,166 people voted early at Oakdale City Hall, and more than 50% of the registered voters in Oakdale cast their ballot by November 2nd. Overall, 16,831 Oakdale residents voted in the 2020 election. The Oakdale ballot included 2 seats for Oakdale City Council. Of the 8 residents that filed for candidacy, the 2 incumbents, Jake Ingebrigtsen and Kevin Zabel, were re-elected to serve for another 4 years. Speaking of city leadership, the city transitioned to new leadership this year. In June, the city welcomed new city administrator Christina Volkers. Volkers filled the position left by previous city administrator Bart Fisher, who left the organization in November of 2019. Craig Dawson served as the interim city administrator from November 2019 through June 2020. The Oakdale Fire Department also underwent change in leadership this year, with Fire Chief Jeff Anderson retiring in July after serving the community for more than 41 years. Former Deputy Chief Kevin Wold was named new fire chief, with Joe Carpentier stepping into the assistant chief role. Additionally, the city said farewell to long-term building official Bill Schmidt, who retired in March after 33 years with the city. Former building inspector Cheryl Melgren was promoted to the role of building official after Schmidt's departure. Among many shifting concerns, the city prioritizes and takes pride in providing a high quality of life for all citizens of Oakdale. In 2020, the city conducted a community survey to gain insight from residents about city services and quality of life issues. Of the 1,700 surveys that were sent to households selected at random, 496 were completed. The city also conducted a supplemental online survey that was open to all residents, which received an additional 74 responses. Overall, residents gave high marks for satisfaction with the city of Oakdale, with a 91% satisfaction rating for Oakdale as a place to live, and an 85% satisfaction rating for the overall quality of life in Oakdale. This year, the city also started the process of updating its bike and pedestrian plan. The new plan will guide improvements in accordance with the goals outlined in the city's comprehensive plan that will make Oakdale a more bike and pedestrian-friendly community. The process was initiated in March with an online survey issued to obtain resident input regarding walking and biking habits and preferences, as well as identify issues and areas of concern. The process, which is in the public engagement phase, was put on hold this summer. The process will continue in spring of 2021, with the plan expected to be completed later next year. It has been a busy and productive year in Oakdale, and we are looking forward to another full year ahead. Some of the things we can expect to see next year include: in 2021, the fire department will be adding several new full-time positions as they continue to plan their transition from a volunteer paid on-call fire service to a full-time career fire department. The city is also continuing to plan for the building of a new police station and a new public works facility. Both existing facilities are beyond capacity of operational needs. The city is considering locations and funding sources. Earlier this year, the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency and the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources announced options for long-term drinking water solutions for the East Metro as part of a 2018 settlement with 3M. The MPCA and the DNR expect to finalize the East Metro drinking water plan in early 2021. The city's water treatment facility, in operation since 2006, currently treats water from 2 of the city's wells and has the capacity to supply typical water demands. In 2021, the city will be constructing a temporary water treatment plant at well number 7, which will further support the ability to meet peak demand in summer months and will also provide treated capacity for new developments such as Willowbrook. In September, the City Council approved development plans for Willowbrook, a new 208-acre mixed residential development that will include approximately 364 for-sale single-family homes and 343 townhomes, as well as 766 rental multifamily units. Grading started this fall to prepare the site for the first phase of development. Development will continue next year, including the construction of 40th Street and potential home construction. The Gold Line achieved 60% planned completion in 2020. There is a distinct possibility that in 2021, construction will begin in the residential portion of the development surrounding the new Helmo Transit Station. When complete, the Helmo Station transit-oriented development will provide 700 to 900 new housing units, an estimated 146,000 square feet of employment space, and 25,000 square feet of retail. That brings us to a close on our 2020 year in review. While the past year brought about challenges, change, and uncertainties, we can reflect back on the many positive moments. One thing that 2020 has shown us is how strong and resilient we are as a community. And together, we head into 2021 with optimism.
Welcome back to Oakdale Update. I'm now joined by Oakdale Mayor Paul Reinke. Paul, thanks for joining us on Oakdale Update at this Year in the Review edition.
You're welcome, Frank, and it's awful nice to be here.
Yes, it is. All right, just give us a quick rundown. How long have you been mayor now?
You know, I've been fortunate to serve for the city, with the city, for 4 years in the mayor position, and then prior to that was 12 years.
Okay.
So it's been a phenomenal deal.
Good deal. Good, and you've done a good job, if I may throw that in there.
Thank you.
All right, so we showed a tape here, and now I'm going to ask you a few questions about some of the highlights of that video. Response to the COVID-19, what were some of the changes that the city had to go through?
You know, the COVID-19 is such a game changer, and it's such a devastating disease. From really what I understood about it the first part in the spring, when it first became obvious that there was a significant problem, to where we are today has evolved. So currently, we are closed for many of the city facilities, and that's out of safety for our employees and also the public. I want to be sure to let everybody know, though, that the City Hall is open for the police department activities. Otherwise, everything is desired to be phone call, drop off, or by email, and making appointments and taking care of business that way.
So if a person came in and wanted to talk to the building inspector, how do you work that?
That person would be cordially discussed with and said that he'll need to contact the building inspector by email or by phone and make an appointment. So that walk-in trade just isn't feasible anymore for the safety of both the people and for the employees.
Okay. All right, so the city received $2.1 million in CARE Act funding. Where did that money go?
You know, most of it went to the purchasing of personal protective equipment and in reimbursing the city on prior expenses that we incurred to keep our citizens and also our employees safe. So you think about the parks and recreation, you think about the technology to help people do their jobs at home, yet still serving the population. It's those type of things.
Okay. Now, there was many, in fact, all the events that the city is so proud of, from Summerfest all up to the Winter Carnival, it's all been canceled. Do you want to name some of those that we lost?
Yeah, you know, it was such a shame and such a heartbreak for myself and for many people in the city. But you think about the Summerfest, you think about the concerts, you think about Winter Wonderland, you think about Touch a Truck, you think about so many of our festivals, our small neighborhood festivals, our National Night Out. All those things we decided to cancel, trying to keep people healthier and safer.
Sure. That's just, it was a shame. So many of the things. I mean, the good thing, though, the farmer's market, that kept going. That was good.
Yes, we were able to do that, and kudos to Julie Williams, Nathan, Laura, Jim, Deb, all the people up on that Discovery Center staff to figure out a way to socially distance, to minimize the number of vendors, and then to conduct it with masks and doing a very good job monitoring the number of people in the building.
Sure.
Now, sad news is that we had to stop because of the governor's orders. Good news is, again, they modified and evolved that event into a virtual.
Okay.
So now it's currently a virtual
yeah.
indoor market, and it's still continuing to work.
Well, I was talking
well.
more about the summer market. I mean, out in the...
Oh, I'm sorry. I was
Yeah.
thinking about
No,
yeah,
no,
the
no,
summer
that-
market was tremendous.
That was great. That was outside and the wind was blowing and it kept the germs flopping in the breeze, I hope. Okay, so talk about the COVID Recovery Business Loan Program. That's pretty important for our people, our businesses.
It really is, and that was the impetus was the CARES Act funding also. So what is going on there is that there's $10,000 zero interest, 3-year deferred loan for eligible businesses, and that's a program that is there. It's a very simple application. So it's a one-page, in essence, 2 sides to fill out for the businesses, explaining the needs and the devastation that they experienced through the COVID issues, and they're going to receive the money. So it's superb. It's open to all businesses in Oakdale.
Who do you get in touch with if you want to?
Great question.
Enter that.
Community development. Linnea is the person. Bob Streeter is another excellent
Okay.
resource. Emily Shively. But if you go on the city website under the community development, you'll see the options that are there for additional funding and grants and loans trying to help people survive in their businesses.
Yeah, and it's so important.
You
I
know,
know so many businesses that are really hurting.
Right.
Of course, me being a businessman, and
myself
I'm in it
also.
Myself
Too.
I got nailed terrible bad business-wise.
The other resource I want to be sure that people remember is still the Washington County also.
They have a
So
loan
going
program
through
too,
their
don't they?
website
Yeah.
has various options for additional support through loans and/or grants.
Yeah, okay. All right, so the important to mention that the public safety response has really changed in the last 8 months, 7, 8 months. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
I sure do. And the reality of people being home, the reality of kids social distance learning, the reality of businesses struggling, trying to make ends meet, takes its toll. So on just the health aspects, but also on the mental health. And then recently, this weekend, I read more about the increase, the devastating increase in the number of suicides.
Yes.
So significant issues that we are dealing with as a community and as a society, and then our frontline people, our medical, our fire and EMT responders are right there trying to assist and are doing just a phenomenal job, but it's hard. And we just celebrated Thanksgiving. So in our family, I made special effort to talk to my family and in the first responders about giving thanks, and thankful for the fire and the police and the EMT and our community service people in the Washington County, and just think about that widespread group of people that continue to work and do a great job.
And they keep
we're
running
thankful.
into more harder mental problems is
Yes.
getting to be the big thing, and it's just so sad.
The emotional and the mental and the behavioral issues that our people are experiencing
Sure.
is real, and it's high.
So that brings us to another thing. The fire department added several full-time positions.
Yes.
And you don't know offhand how many it was or anything?
I believe it was 3. So
3.
we funded for 3.
So now we're eliminating the volunteer part and going into full-time.
Right. Over time, we're going to transition away from the paid on call or the volunteer, and the volunteer crew has been phenomenal. Think about it, going back to, 25, 30 years,
sure.
however many number of
Sure.
years it has been. But the reality is business has changed. The community, people's work, lifestyles has changed, and the needs for medical response. And, we don't have that many fires anymore,
Right.
thank God.
Right.
We do have a lot of other community needs. And so that whole process, Chief Anderson started it, Deputy Chief Wold, who is now promoted to a chief,
Yes.
is going to continue it. But that evolution away from the paid on call into a full-time firefighting force has taken place, and we're going to continue that.
Sure.
So we've got 3 positions coming on board this year, 2021. this coming year.
And those will be full-timers. And then will that spread the time out that they're on duty? 'Cause what do they do? They're on 24 and off 48 or something like that? You don't know.
You know, I don't know. I don't know. The pros are Chief Wold.
But I think it's something like on 24 and off 48 or something like that. I don't.
There's something like that.
That's a tough one because they're, and I hope that with more people there, they can spread it out a little bit better so that these people can spend more time with their families too. That's pretty important.
It certainly is.
That's pretty important. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the cream of the crop, the Willowbrook development at the north end of Oakdale. I live right by there, so every day I drive back and forth to and from, and I just watch them moving dirt around, and it's sad to see 208 acres of farmland getting all plowed up, but I can see what's coming here. And this is such a crown,
Yes.
a jewel, because this is the first time in 100 years that Oakdale has had a piece of virgin property that you get to develop the way you want it. So let's talk about that.
So that site again is for people who are watching us. It's just to the north side of the old Emation headquarters.
Yeah.
Currently, Slumberland has it, and it's called Forefront.
Yes.
So think about that whole section to the east of 694 and to the north of 5.
So just for reference, it's north of the Target in Oakdale. You go down the street there, head up north a little bit there, and you'll see all the earth being moved.
Right.
Okay.
So that was a long time in planning, and it was really original plan by 3M for additional office, research development, and technical buildings. With 3M's change, with Emation's creation, with Emation's change, it evolved to the point where 3M Foundation, who had owned that property, decided to sell it. A company called Maplewood Development purchased it, and in working with us and eventually Lennar Homes, we jointly created just a phenomenal plan, Frank. That's going to be 1,400 homes or housing residences in that area over the next maybe 8 years. And it's going to take some time.
Oh, it is that long, huh? Yeah.
But it's going to be 350 homes, single-family homes, and then several apartments buildings, and then also twin homes, townhomes, in those type of style of living. We are thrilled that Lennar was chosen as the major developer. I'm told that he's going to have 4, 5, 6 different housing styles that people can choose from and modify as they want to move in there. And it's thrilling that they have started work. Like you say, you see it every day, but they started moving earth. We have been fortunate with the weather, so it's terrific. We're excited.
There was we had that one snowstorm, and I thought that would be the kiss of death for the properties. And then the next day, everything went up in the 40s and all that. And they are moving dirt. Every day, they're moving tons of dirt. Yes. Now, is there going to be is there going to be high-rise? There's going to be apartments too, isn't there? Apartments and high-rise and.
We've got it planned, and we've been presented with concepts where it's going to be 4 stories. So it's not going to be high-rise 10, 12, 13 story, but it's probably 4 stories. Maybe there's a 5th story if the market demands it.
Yep.
And I got to say that the confidence that people have in Oakdale, even in light of COVID and some of the difficulties on the national and regional level, it's so satisfying to see people moving forward, investing their capital, taking that risk because of the long-term confidence. I think about 2 new people that have just opened businesses in our city. The barbershop, the Standard. I want to say Charlotte is running that. There's a new restaurant opening up, Urban Walk, over there by barbecue, the chicken wings, Buffalo Wings.
Oh, really?
So there's a new tenant that has decided, yes, now's the time, even in light of this difficulty.
Ooh, they got nerve.
We think about our applications for permits for driveways, roofing, siding, doubled from this time last year. So there is a tremendous amount of confidence which we've helped instill in the viability of Oakdale and in the success of our city.
Oh, that is so wonderful.
Going forward.
That is so wonderful. I want to backtrack for a minute here. I forgot to mention this. The city did a survey of people's how much they like Oakdale or not. Right. How did that turn out?
it turned out great. Now, you may remember, in fact, you might have participated maybe 6 years ago, we did a survey, and it was through a different organization than it was done just recently. So we sent out about 1,700 surveys and had almost 500 people respond through the written word. And all said and done, the quality of life that people are experiencing in Oakdale is ranging up to 91% satisfaction.
Super. Isn't that great?
Yes. And they also gave us some ideas on how to improve in a couple of areas,
that's good
which
too.
was part of the reason for that.
Okay.
But on the whole, and you think about all the different avenues that are making up Oakdale's life, people are very, very satisfied and happy.
Okay, so I want to get back to Willowbrook one time. Now there's going to be senior citizen housing there, correct? Like 3 stories or 4 stories? Something?
Yeah, there may be. Right now, it's just multifamily is how
Okay.
it's been designated.
Okay.
And over time here, it's got to be market-driven and letting the developer and the people who are making the investment on their capital make those final decisions. There is going to be senior housing contemplated down on the south side of town at the Helmo Station, part of the Gold Line bus rapid transit
Oh,
line.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
So there may not be specific senior housing at the Willowbrook site.
Okay. If I saw the plans for the Willowbrook site, and on the west side of, right on the freeway edge, the edge of the freeway there, it looked to me like there might be some high rises in there, or apartments or something of that nature. Is that? I mean, it's just a tentative plan, right?
Yep. But that's certainly where it's going to go, and it's a transitional development. So when you take from a freeway, almost always you see people putting up the multifamily and multi-story structures, and that as you move away from those type of major intersections, it becomes more twin homes, single-family homes, and less dense.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll probably be 3 or 4 story apartment buildings along that east side of 694.
Okay. Well, and then twin homes too, and
You bet.
rental properties, and
You bet.
and single-family houses, and they're a different price range too. Is that correct?
Yes, there will.
Yeah.
We believe that it's going to be in the mid 300s as a starting point, and then going up from there for the owner-occupied single-family homes.
Yeah. No, that's going to be so great.
It is.
And
We're
this
thrilled.
is going to be the crown in your administration. I mean, but you aren't going to be there to see it to finalize. But you got it going. You were involved in getting it going.
From day one, and at the end of the day, we are thrilled. We are proud. We have done a nice job to make this come to fruition.
Yep.
So I get to be in the forefront, but it's a we endeavor, absolutely.
Good for you. Okay, well, we're running out of time here, so is there anything you'd like to say to our viewing audience?
You bet there is. So we just experienced a Thanksgiving, which was tremendous, and we had a chance to express our appreciation for all the things that we get to be involved in. And then coming up here is now Christmas, the Christmas holiday. So from the staff of City Hall, from my fellow councilors, and definitely from myself, I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a blessed and safe Happy New Year.
Okay, and let's hope this COVID business gets over with. Is that correct?
It will be. It will be continuing to be minimized.
Okay.
It will get over with.
We will.
We'll find ways.
But it's going to be a while. We're
going to deal with a lot of issues, and we will find ways. We will be productive. We will be happy, and the wealth that we have for businesses and individual wealth will continue to increase.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you for joining us on Oakdale Update, and blessed and a good Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you.
Hope that it's better than this last one. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all we have time for on this month's Oakdale Update. Just a quick reminder that there is no on-street parking in the city daily from midnight to 5 a.m. For everyone at the City of Oakdale, thanks for watching. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all.